Before Rome ruled the Mediterranean, before emperors, legions, and marble forums, Central Italy belonged to another civilization, the Etruscans. They built cities before Rome existed. They dominated trade, religion, and warfare in Italy. They ruled Rome itself and taught it how to become a state. And yet today, the Etruscans feel like a historical ghost. Their language is mostly unreadable, their literature is lost, their story survives largely through Roman eyes. This is the history of the Etruscans, from their rise in the Iron Age through the Golden Age of power to their slow disappearance into the Roman world and the legacy they left behind. This is the Knights of the Step, and welcome to the history of the Etruscans. Since ancient times, scholars have puzzled over where the Etruscans came from. Herodotus famously traced their origins to Anatolia, suggesting a migration into Etruria before 800 BCE that reshaped the local Iron Age population. Dionysius of Halicarnassus disagreed, insisting that the Etruscans were native to Italy. A third theory, developed in the 19th century, added yet another possibility. None of these explanations, however, has fully convinced modern researchers, who now tend to focus less on origins and more on how the Etruscans gradually formed as a distinct people. Modern scholars more or less agree that the roots of Etruscan civilization lie in a Villanovan culture, emerging around 900 BCE. This was an Iron Age society, with small hilltop settlements, agriculture and ironworking, early social hierarchies led by warrior elites. Burial customs defined this period as cremation of the dead, ashes placed in biconical urns, grave goods reflecting status and gender. These were not yet city-states, but they were organized, stable, and increasingly wealthy. As these communities grew, so did conflict. Early Etruscan warfare was likely small-scale and aristocratic, led by elite warriors who could afford weapons, armor, and horses. But this was about to change. By the 8th century BCE, Etruria was fully connected to Mediterranean trade. Greek and Phoenician merchants brought luxury goods, artistic styles, religious symbols, and new military ideas. This sparked the Orientalization period, when Etruscan wealth exploded. Elite families displayed power through monumental tombs, gold jewelry, imported Greek pottery, lavish banquets depicted in tombs paintings. Around 700 BCE, the Etruscans adopted a Greek-derived alphabet, making them a literate civilization. This period also marks a turning point in warfare. Through contact with Greek colonies in southern Italy, the Etruscans encountered a revolutionary military system, the hoplite phalanx. Archaeology shows that Etruscan elites quickly adopted round bronze shields similar to Greek hoplons, bronze helmets modeled on Corinthian and Chalcidian styles, greaves, cuirasses, and long thrusting spears. Warfare shifted dramatically from individual heroic combat to disciplined heavy infantry formations. Military service now reflected social status. Just as in Greece, only those who could afford armor fought as hoplites. Etruscan armies were not exact copies of Greek forces. They combined hoplite infantry fighting in close formation, cavalry drawn from aristocratic elites, light infantry, and allied contingents. This made them powerful but difficult to coordinate. Because unlike Greece or Rome, Etruria was politically fragmented. Each city fought for itself. Coalitions were temporary. Unified command was rare. This weakness would prove fatal. Etruscan military strength extended beyond land. They were formidable naval powers, controlling key trade routes in the Tyrrhenian Sea. Their fleets protected commerce, challenged Greek expansion, allied with the Carthage against common enemies. This maritime power would reach its peak during the Etruscans' Golden Age. By 600 BCE, Etruscan civilization stood at its height. Power was organized through the Decapolis, a loose league of 12 major city-states including Veii, Tarquinia, Cerveteri, Ulci, and Volsini. Each city was independent, ruled by aristocratic elites, yet united by religion and culture. This decentralization fueled prosperity, but prevented long-term strategic unity. In 540 BCE, Etruscan and Carthaginian fleets confronted Greek colonists at the Battle of Alalia off Corsica. Though costly, the battle secured Etruscan dominance of the Tyrrhenian Sea. For a brief moment, the western Mediterranean was close to Greek expansion. This was the high tide of the Etruscan power. During the same power, Rome was not yet Rome. Between 616 and 509 BCE, it was ruled by Etruscan kings, the Tarquin dynasty. Under their rule, the Cloaca Maxima drained Rome's marches. Stone temples replaced huts, religious and political offices were formalized, and early Roman armies mirrored Etruscan hoplite organization. Rome learned how to fight, build, and govern from Etruria. In 509 BCE, Rome expelled its last king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, and became a republic. Rome rejected monarchy, but not Etruscan influence. From this point forward, Rome would become Etruria's greatest enemy. The first major blow came at sea. In 474 BCE, Etruscan fleets were crushed by Syracuse at the Battle of Cumae. Their naval dominance was broken, trade declined, wealth faded, and Greek power surged back. Pressure followed from the north as well. Around 400 BCE, Gallic tribes invaded the Po Valley. Etruscan northern territories collapsed. Their world was shrinking. In addition, Rome struck decisively. After a legendary 10-year siege, Rome destroyed Veii in 396 BCE. This was more than a victory. It was a transformation. Rome annexed Veii's land, absorbed its people, and learned how to conquer Italy. In 283 BCE, Etruscan and Gallic forces made a final stand at the Battle of Lake Vadimo. They were crushed. Organized Etruscan resistance ended. In 264 BCE, Rome destroyed Volsini, the last independent Etruscan city. Etruscan political power was finished. After the Social War, Etruscans were granted Roman citizenship in 90 BCE, legally Roman, culturally fading. Under Augustus, Etruria became Regia 7. The name survived, the people did not. The Etruscans vanished, but Rome was built in their image. Rome's earliest armies were Etruscan in structure. Hoplite formations, wealth-based military service, and aristocratic cavalry. Rome later evolved into manipular legion, but only after mastering Etruscan and Greek warfare. Rome didn't reject Etruscan military ideas. It perfected them. Roman augury, haruspicy, and sacred law came directly from Etruria. Even Roman generals in the imperial age consulted Etruscan priests. Power required divine approval and Etruscan belief. In addition, gladiatorial combat likely began as Etruscan funeral ritual. Bloodshed meant to honor the dead. Rome transformed this sacred act into the mass entertainment. The fasces, curule chair, triumphal robes, all Etruscan in origin. Rome hated kings, but ruled using royal symbols. Arches, drainage, roads, temples. Rome's urban success depended on Etruscan engineering knowledge. Around 50 CE, Emperor Claudius, one of the last speakers of Etruscan, wrote a 20-volume history of the Etruscan civilization. Unfortunately, it is lost. So is their literature. What remains is Rome itself. The Etruscans did not fall in fire and ruin. They faded, absorbed by civilization they helped to create. Rome conquered Etruria, but it ruled using Etruscan ideas. The Romans rewrote history, but beneath their empire lies an older power, one that taught Rome how to rule the world. This was Knights of the Steppe. Thank you for watching.